Hey everybody, this is the last day, Friday, of the Black Lives Matter week of action. And yeah, so it's not as much going on in Bellevue School District as I would like. I would really love to see the district take a stronger stance on Black Lives Matter. And I think our students need to see that from a district level, not just teachers organizing on their own, educators organizing on their own. So I'm going to see what I can continue to do to get the district to that point where they're willing to accept that and to get on board with those things. And one thing that keeps coming up for me is there is a lot that's happened in our school district, and I think in districts across the nation, that you would describe as racialized events, right, that have been some type of prejudice, discrimination that's taken place, some type of mistreatment or violence against people of color. And what I'm really struck with is the fact that we're always seeming to be reactive. We're always reacting as a district or as a building or as an institution to these events rather than being more proactive in how we approach racial justice. And it's not enough. And on an individual basis, right, like I think what I'm trying to do, and I'm not there yet, and I don't know if I ever will arrive in that, right? But what I try to do is to make sure that I catch how my implicit bias is impacting my thoughts, my beliefs, and my actions before it impacts students. Because we got to stop hurting kids. We got to stop saying things, doing things that perpetuate white supremacy and perpetuate racial oppression in our schools. We can't just keep apologizing for things. We can't just, say an off-the-cuff comment to a student and then apologize. And I've done that. I did that last year and corrected it right away, but I didn't catch it before it left my mouth, where I said something that, used a racialized, I used the word hood rats, not even thinking, not trying to be offensive, but not understanding before I said it, like what those implications were. And then as soon as I said it, I caught it and addressed that with my students right away in that class. But it still happens. But we got to get to where that becomes fewer and far between. We got to reduce the trauma that we're inflicting upon our students. We can't just keep asking them to forgive us and to be patient with us as we learn. I, as an individual, have a responsibility to get this right and to check myself before I act and say anything that can cause harm to any of my students. So that's my vision, that's my quest, is that we, if we just keep causing racial trauma and then apologizing and promising change, we're never going to actually change. We're always going to give ourselves a second chance, a third chance, a fourth chance, a millionth chance in this, and we really got to start having some accountability about catching this stuff before. We have courageous conversation training. We are having these conversations and discussions, and I can only imagine how much patience it's taking to be a person of color in this district, to continuously see these events take place and us asking for forgiveness and for patience as we try to navigate these things. We got to do more. We got to do better. What we're doing is not enough. So I challenge you, I challenge myself to think as an individual, how is implicit bias, how is racialized language, thinking, believing, thoughts, acting, impacting my classroom, my sphere of influence, the 3 feet around me, and then make sure that we're catching it before it hurts kids and causes further trauma. So I hope sit with those over the weekend and think about how that can impact you next week. We'll see you then.